Hi, so the following sets of videos are going to help you understand or review the sugya of Yeush Shelo Mida'at. I hope to divide this into 3 videos. So this first video is titled Yeush Shelo Mida'at Part 1, the introduction. So let's just do some review. Matzati $100 beli siman, אפשר לשמור את הכסף. If I find $100 without a siman, without a sign, can I keep the money? The answer is ken. Lama. Why am I allowed to keep the money? Ki haba'al mityaesh. The owner gives up hope. Now, mazid yeush. What is considered giving up hope? Giving up hope is da'at shel haba'al she'en od tikva lekabel ma she'avad. The owner himself has no more hope to receive what he lost. So, kasher adam oved davar, when a person loses something, umityaesh, and he gives up hope, ha'im hu yodea shne'evad lo, baruch sheken. Obviously, he knows that it's lost. If I lost something, I know that's a normal case. I realize when something's missing from me, and therefore I understand that it's lost. Im hu mityaesh, hu yodea shehu avad oto. If he gives up hope, in order to give up hope, something that you lost, it must be that you know that it's lost. Otherwise, how can you give up hope? We call this dat. Korim it's a dat. This is what we call dat. So here's a case. יש לי $100 במעטפה לבנה בתיק שלי. I have $100 in a white envelope. המעטפה נופלת בפרומנד מall. The envelope falls in Promenade Mall. והבנתי שנפלה כאשר הגעתי לבית שלי. I only realized that it was missing when I got home. Can the finder keep the object, keep the envelope with $100? Answer is yes. Lama. Since I know that the wallet, the envelope was lost, and therefore I gave up hope on the lost object. So therefore, the finder, is able to keep it since I gave up hope. Now, there are 2 important things that are important for returning a lost object. There are 2 things a person needs to take into account. Number 1 is Yeush, second one is Dat. Yeush, again, does the owner actually think that he can find the object? If he doesn't, he gives up hope. Another thing is dat. The Baal knows, the owner knows that the item that the item is lost. So those 2 things, Yeush and dat. So dugma, what's an example? Someone who finds an object without a siman, so if I find an object that has no siman, the reason I can keep it, there's 2 reasons. 1, the owner is giving up hope because there is no siman. That's called yeush. And the owner knows also that it's lost, and it's that. And usually they go hand in hand, right? Because in order to be mityaesh on something, in order to give up hope on something, you have to know that it's lost. So that's Yeush Vedat. Im Haveda Yesh Ba Siman. If the item has a siman, the item, the finder cannot keep the item that has a siman. Ki Haveda Adayin Kshura Labal and Yeush, because the object is still connected kind of to the owner. And Yeush, he didn't give up hope. And Hu Yodea Shne'evad. So Ad Achshav Rak Dibarnu B'Mikrim Shabal Yodea Shne'evad. So until this point, we've only spoken about cases that the owner knows that it's lost. Yesh lo dat. He has awareness that it's lost. Ba'al ma'im hu lo yodea shne'evad. What if he doesn't know that it's lost? Korim et zeh Yeush Shelo Mida'at. We call this Yeush Shelo Mida'at. Yesh li $100 b'matefa levana batik sheli. Here is a case of Yeush Shelo Mida'at. I have $100 in a white envelope. Hamatefa nofel b'promenade mall b'yom shishi b'tzahorayim. The envelope falls for me on Friday in the afternoon. Mishu motze oto acharei 5 dakot. Someone finds it after 5 minutes. I come back home. without the knowledge that I lost the envelope. ביום שני בבוקר, on Monday morning, כאשר אני לוקח את התיק שלי, when I take my bag, אני מסתכל בפנים, ואין בו המעטפה. I look inside my bag. There is no envelope. So here we have a case of Yeush Shelo Mida'at. מה ההבדל ביניהם? What's the difference between the first case we mentioned a few slides ago and the second case? במקרה, number one, in the first case, הבעל ידע שעבר את המעטפה מיד. The owner knows that he lost it right away. ואחרי שלא יכל למצוא אותו, once he wasn't able to find it, הוא מתייאש עליה. He gives up hope. ואז המוצא יכול לשמור אותה מיד, and therefore the guy can find it right away. They can keep it. Yes, Yeush, there is Yeush, and there is that. He knows that it's lost. במקרה שני, in the second case, הבעל לא יודע שהמעטפה נאבדת עד אחרי 3 ימים. He doesn't know that it's lost until after 3 days. So there is no doubt in the second case when the owner, when the finder finds the object, because he found it after 5 minutes, and the owner doesn't even know that it's lost until after 3 days. So this is a case of Yeush Shelo Mida'at. Yeush Shelo Mida'at is a matzav, is a situation in which an object, which the owner would ordinarily abandon hope of recovery. Normally, this case, he would abandon hope. It's $100 in a white envelope, no siman. It was lost, but he did not do so. He was not mityesh. Why? Because he was not yet aware that it was lost. This is called no dat. He has no knowledge, no awareness that it was lost. The object was found before the owner realized he had lost it. That's how Rashi explains the case of the Yeush Shelo Mida'at. We have 2 opinions in this case, the Yeush Shelo Mida'at, 2 opinions that you must understand and remember. We have Abaye and Rava. Abaye says, Lo have Yeush, and Rava says it is Yeush. Meaning the guy who finds it in the mall after 5 minutes, Abaye says you cannot keep it. Lo have Yeush. כלומר, המוצא לא יכול לשמור אותו, כי הבעל לא התייאש מהאבדה. The owner never gave up hope, even though maybe in 3 days he's going to give up hope when he realizes it's lost, but at that moment he cannot keep it. Therefore, lo have Yeush. It's not considered Yeush on the part of the owner. The finder must try to find who the owner is. And Rava says, have Yeush. Rava says, no, it is Yeush. כלומר, is it to say, מותר למוצא לשמור את האבדה, כי זה כמו הבעל להתייאש עליה. The finder is allowed to keep the object because it's as if the owner did give up hope. Eventually, he's going to give up hope, and therefore, he's able to do so. He's able to keep it. Those are the 2 shitot. Abaye says that the finder cannot keep it. Rava says the finder could keep it. The halacha, the Lefi Gemara, as you will see at the end, halacha lema'asehi kimo Abaye. The halacha is that Abaye is correct, that a person is not able to keep it, even though maybe in 3 days he's going to give up hope, but he's not allowed to, because at this moment there is no dat, he has no awareness as lost, and therefore he's not mityaesh, he does not give up hope, and therefore he does not give permission for the finder to keep it. And we mentioned Yeshrak Shisha Pe'amin Bechol HaTalmud Shalachai Kemo Abaye Kashu V'Rava B'Chokim. This is only 1 out of 6 times where the halacha holds like Abaye whenever he and Rava argue against each other. What is Yeush Shelo Mida'at? Itmar. It has been stated. So now we start the Gemara. It has been said, Yeush Shelo Mida'at. Abaye Amar Lo Have Yeush. Whenever we have a case where there is abandonment without the owner's awareness, Abaye says it's not considered Yeush. The Rava Amar Have Yeush. Rava argued, yes, it is Yeush. So again, like we mentioned these opinions, Abaye says that it is not considered, he's not allowed to keep it, and Rava says it is considered Yeush, and he is allowed to keep it. Lefi Abaye, Hamotze lo yachol lishmor ha'aveda, afim ba'atid habal yayesh. So again, we explained, according to Abaye, the finder cannot keep the item, even if in the future he's going to give up hope. Now, the Gemara now wants to discuss certain cases where Abaye and Rava would agree to, and we'll chart this out soon. Now, bedavar sheyesh bo siman, if the item that was lost was an item with a siman, it had a mark on it. Hule alma lo pelige. Everybody agrees, meaning even Rava agrees, de lo have Yeush, that the guy is not going to give up hope. There's no abandonment of hope here because there is a siman on the object. Even though we hear later on that he abandoned hope, it's still not Yeush, right? Because obviously you have to give back the item to the owner because it's a siman. Lama? Why do you have to give back the object? When it came into his hand, when the finder found the object that had a siman, it came into his hand be'isura. It came to his hand be'isur, meaning prohibitedly. He wasn't able to keep that. When the item arrived in his hand, it came into a situation where he wasn't allowed to keep it. So even Rava would agree in this case, in an item that has a siman, you're not allowed to keep it. Why? For when the owner becomes aware that it fell from him, he does not abandon hope of recovering him. What is he going to say to himself? The owner, he lost the object, but it has a siman. So he's going to say to himself, Simana itli, I have a siman, begave, on it. V'yahidna simana, I'm going to give that siman, whoever it is that found it, and I'm going to take my item back. It has a siman, so he's never going to give up hope. So even Rava agrees that an item that has a siman, even if there's no dat at that moment, the guy cannot keep it. Okay. What's another case where we agree? If the object was swept away by the tides of the sea, or by the surge of the river, even if it does have a siman, HaKadosh Baruch Hu permitted the finder to keep it, as we're going to explain. So if an object had a siman, but it was swept away by the sea or by a flooding river, right? The finder is allowed to keep it. So now, when do they disagree? Bedavar she'en bo siman. When there is no siman. Abaye amar lo have yeush. Abaye holds that it's not a yeush. Because the owner didn't know that it fell from him. So therefore, he cannot be mityaesh on the abedah. So on an item that does not have a siman, Abaye says, lo have yeush. Rava amar have yeush. Rava says, yes, he does abandon hope. Because when he becomes aware that he lost it, eventually in 3 days from now, he's going to find out that he lost it. Mityaesh is going to abandon hope. So therefore, eventually, since he's going to abandon hope in 3 days from now, the guy can keep it at that moment. So when do Abaye and Rava disagree? Meimar Amar, for he will say to himself, this is simana lately bigabe. I don't have a siman. Sorry. So this is Rava's opinion. He's saying that the guy says to himself, I don't have a siman. So therefore, it's like now he's abandoning it from this moment. What am I going to give in 3 days? Okay, so I realize in 3 days from now that it's lost, but I don't have anything to prove it that it's mine. So therefore, Rava says I can keep it from, or the finder can keep it from this moment. And so here's a little, maybe hard to see on your screen, but here's a little flow chart. All right, so we have Yeush Shelo Mida'at. So now, let's look to the right. On davar sheyesh bo siman, if the item has a siman, on top in the purple, mikre ragil, in the normal case, an item that has a siman, both Abaye and Rava will agree, lo have yeush, it's not yeush, chayav le'achriz, the guy has to announce it. It has a siman, okay, it's a normal case, he has to announce it. Now, let's look at the yellow below that. Okay, again, still with davar that has a siman, it has siman, but this time it was swept away by a flooding river. In this case, Abaye and Rava will agree it is Yeush, right? And the guy can keep it because even though it's flooded, it has a siman, it was swept away by the river, right? The guy gives up hope, and therefore the finder can keep it. Let's move now to the left. Davar she'en bo siman. We said this is the case where Abaye and Rava are disagreeing when there is no siman. Okay, Abaye on top in the green says, Lo have Yeush. It's not Yeush. Why? Ki hu lo yada shenafal. At this moment, okay, he doesn't know that it's lost. And therefore, chayav le'achris, the guy has to announce it when he finds it. And Rava, down below in the bottom left, in the brown, he says, have Yeush. You know what are you talking about? It is considered Yeush. Because kasher hu yodea shenafal, because in 3 days from now, when he realizes that it fell from him, he realizes it's lost, okay, he will give up hope, Yeush Shelo, and therefore the guy is allowed to keep it. This ends part 1 of Yeush Shelo Mida'at.